Starting with the 27th of August in France, onion quantities will be reduced by 25 to 30% due to rain. There is an Origine Cévennes, a group of producers specializing in the cultivation of sweet onions. The producers are in the middle of harvest. Carl Grandidier said, "Despite the good quality of the onions, it will be a difficult season. Rain reduced production by 25 to 30%. In Spain, the pepper production is expected to fall by 70% due to hailstorms. The pepper campaign and the vegetable production in general are not expected to be great in Fresno de la Vega. The hail that fell in late June caused a lot of destruction in many plants, and although many plants have apparently recovered, the losses will reach 70%. In Greece, the prices for peaches are better, but that's because there will be less produce due to rainy weather. The weather conditions were a problem for us this year, the general manager of Asapop Velventos explains. Due to a lot of rain this season, we had less produce than we normally have, even with the earlier start. The prices are better though, so overall we had a good season. Our harvest will last until the 20th of September. In Germany, grain production will be almost 25% less than last year. But the article goes on to say that winter barley production decreased by 18% from 2017, while winter oilseed rape production is estimated to be 36% below the 5-year average. The low yields are as a result of the recent drought and heat wave of the summer just gone. In Cyprus, the prickly pears are at risk from disease, and the disease is called the prickly pear cochineal. Sources say that no pesticides could be sprayed because the Turkish army refused to give permission. And now that it's spread from various places, they are giving permission, but it may be too little, too late. In the Ukraine, drought conditions have adversely affected late spring crops at the end of their growing. According to the data of the Ukrainian Hydrometeorological Center, as of August 20, productive topsoil moisture content in the fields intended for sowing winter crops was insufficient at 11 to 20 millimeters and poor 1 to 10 millimeters in most regions except for the south, where soil moisture will be measured towards September 10. In single parts of Kharkiv and other regions, the soil was absolutely dry. The rain-free weather over the last 2 weeks, persistently high air temperatures, and soil drought adversely affected late crops at the end of their growing season, as well as soil preparation for preparing winter crops for next year. In India, riots, I'm not sure if they mean riots, demand compensation for crop losses to farmers due to heavy rains and flood, with a demand to pay compensation of 25,000 rupees per acre of crop damage due to heavy rains and flood. The farmers staged a dharna in front of the office of the Joint Director of the Agricultural Department here on Tuesday. The farmers also demanded that the government register names of tenant farmers while preparing the crop loss list. The agitators staged the demonstration by displaying samples of damaged crop. They raised slogans against the officials who declared that there had been no loss to the crop. Speaking on the occasion, Ritu Sangam, Upland District Secretary Srinivas, said that crops in an extent of 1 lakh acres were damaged due to heavy rains. Tenant farmers feel that they are getting a raw deal in terms of being compensated for their lost crops. In Malaysia, natural rubber production has been impacted by flooding and tree disease. World consumption of natural rubber grew 5.2% in the first 7 months of 2018, compared with a growth of 3.7% in world natural rubber supply. World natural production totaled 8.16 million metric tons, and production stood at 7.37 million tons for a total production shortfall of 786,000 tons. It says Vietnam saw the biggest drop in production during the period at 17.6%, according to the report. Malaysian production fell by 16.5%, Sri Lankan production by 10.3%, and Indian production by 8.5%. In India, the plantation sector stares at a loss of 800 rupees crore loss. The monsoon fury, which impacted 48,000 hectares of plantations in the state, is likely to have a prolonged effect on the commodities market, especially of spices in the country. Numerous landslips, strong winds, and inundations caused by heavy rains have adversely affected plantation crops such as ginger, black pepper, cardamom, coffee, nutmeg, rubber, and tea. Though an official estimate is yet to emerge, the quantum of immediate loss incurred by the state's plantation sector is expected to touch 800 rupees crore, or whatever that is. In Norway, it's been a difficult summer for vegetable growers. Both in Norway and Northern Europe in general, there is too low a supply of cauliflower. The prices are expected to rise over the coming weeks. The prices won't decrease unless the weather conditions are more favorable over the coming weeks, so that large amounts of cauliflower enters the market once again. Analysis by another agency also showed that the oversupply of tomatoes is now a thing of the past. The prices should therefore recover over the coming weeks. The sales of onions and carrots are going well, but cabbage is having problems with the quality. A lot of the cabbage was affected by cabbage moth during the summer, and the cabbages are smaller than usual. In the U.S., losses from Hurricane Irma last year sent the value of 2017-18 Florida citrus crop plummeting 41%. And then they talk about Peace River Packing Company. We knew the increase in price would not offset the loss of the crop. So it's just a net loss. I mean, the crops went down and the value went down, and one did not balance the other. In the USA, rain is expected to cut into crop yields. While some areas of Minnesota and Iowa are expecting record yields for corn and soybeans this fall, that is not the case for large parts of Redwood, Renville, and Brown counties. They had too much rain early in the growing season, and the fields were barely planted when the skies began to open up and dump water. Some of these counties are usually in the top 10% of production. That's not going to happen. But they talk about soybeans being planted later, which also increases the chance of damage from an early frost. And one source says that we are seeing a lot of sudden death syndrome as the result of a wet spring. In Blooming Prairie, a farmer says that from looking at the fields, compared to last year, we're going to be down 10 to 15% on our corn. There's tip-back issues in the field right now, and the big wild card that I've been hearing about is that kernel depth is not what it has been in previous years. And this is what happens when you have weather problems, is the quality and quantity of production goes down. In India, after rain, pest attack stings Chiquiti farmers. Farmers in Nuapada village under this block in Ganjam district are a worried lot as paddy crop in thousands of acres are facing threat from attack. After incessant rainfall submerged farmlands and brought huge losses, the pest attack on the standing crop has come as a fresh challenge. The unexpected scourge has added to the woes of farmers who have already incurred losses due to pest attack for the last 2 years. Farmers said that due to pest attacks, the paddy plants are wilting.